Hello, and welcome to the MMA Mic Drop Podcast. My name is Jade Bunky. In today's episode, I'm going to break down every fight that's about to go down at UFC 314, Volkanovski versus Lopes. This fight card is absolutely stacked, and I can't wait to get into it. I'm hoping I can go undefeated once again like I did in the last show. MMA Milo did quite well also. Speaking of whom, MMA Milo, my co-host, he is not with us today because he is back in Hawaii once again. And let me just say, I hope he does not have any near-death experiences on this trip. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check out the video titled MMA Milo Almost Dies, and you might be surprised at what you find. Now, in terms of this particular fight card, if I am to give it a grade, I would give it an A-. It is absolutely stacked. A great main event, great co-main event, fun fights up and down the card, good prelims. Really excited about this one. So let's break down every fight and let's start with the main event. Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. This is a great title fight. Volkanovski is going to try to reclaim the throne that he held for quite some time. He eventually lost it to Ilia Topuria, and he lost it in somewhat violent fashion. He got finished. Topuria, I would say, is pound for pound the best fighter in the UFC. He has now moved up to lightweight division. This gives Volkanovski an opportunity, like I said, to reclaim the throne. But before that, he cleaned out the featherweight division. He beat legends. He beat top contenders. He went on a 22 feet unbeaten streak if you go back to previous promotions to the start of his run in the UFC. He is one of the greatest featherweights of all time. And he is going against a very explosive, dynamic fighter in Diego Lopes. And if I look at Volkanovski's strengths first, he's good everywhere. You know, he's a good athlete. He's, good at striking, good at grappling. He has high technical acumen. And the thing that I think is the key differentiator for him that makes him different from all the other top tier athletes in his division is his fight IQ. The dude is smart. He creates always creates a solid game plan. He's over at Kick Sitting Boxing in New Zealand. They put him through the ringer to make sure he is ready to go. Always has a good strategy, and then he's able to not only execute the strategy inside the cage, but he's able to make he's able to make changes as the fight goes on based on new information he's receiving and new twists and turns that are happening in the fight. And it's that fight IQ that still gives him an opportunity and a chance at age 36. And that is the biggest problem, his age. It's age 36 because he is starting to slow down a bit. And when you look at his opponent, Diego Lopes, like I just said, probably the most dynamic striker, or maybe the most explosive fighter in this division now that Ilia Topuria has moved up to lightweight. He's good everywhere. He hits hard. He is an exceptional grappler. His only loss in the UFC was his first short notice fight against the undefeated Movsar Evloev, and he finished, I believe, 3 guys in a row after that. Then beat 2 top contenders after that, or it was Danny Gay, not necessarily a top contender. But there were all sorts of unusual circumstances in that fight where Ige took that fight on hours' notice. Diego Lopes took that fight. I believe the weight was at 161. Unique circumstances. In this fight, Diego Lopes has the opportunity to finish Volkanovski. Volkanovski has been finished twice in back-to-back fights, once against Ilia Topuria and then up a weight class to Islam Makhachev. And that does take a toll on your chin. And it's interesting because Diego Lopes can gas. He can get tired. This is a 5-round fight. And I think the question for Volkanovski, can he survive the early onslaught? Can he survive the first 2 rounds? We've seen that Lopes starts to slow down in the 3rd round. And if it's a 5-round fight, that can be a problem. But given his age, given Volkanovski's age, 36 years old, I don't see it happening. And let me just look at the odds real quickly. Volkanovski, he's a minus 135 favorite. Diego Lopes is a plus 114 underdog. I think that there's an opportunity to put money on Diego Lopes right there. I mean, I think he's probably going to finish the fight. I think he's going to finish it in the second round. Give me Diego Lopes, second round TKO. All right, the co-main event, Michael Chandler versus Paddy Pimblett. And who would have saw this fight coming about 3 years ago? Probably no one, right? People were talking about Paddy Pimblett was a little overrated. Michael Chandler was the next big thing. Then he waited 2 years to fight Conor McGregor. That never happened. And he aged. And he's starting to slow down quite a bit. Now, when you look at Michael Chandler, he's an explosive athlete. One of the most entertaining fighters in the UFC. He's somebody that will go toe-to-toe with you. Heavy hands, good striker, excellent wrestler, although he doesn't use his wrestling pedigree too much because he just likes to throw down and give the fans what they want, sometimes to his detriment. When you look at Paddy Pimblett, he's undefeated in the UFC. I believe it's 5-0. Let me look at the odds real quick. Paddy Pimblett is a minus 162 favorite. Michael Chandler is a plus 136 underdog. And this is a really intriguing matchup because, Pimblett, like I said, he's 5-0 in the UFC. It's funny, I almost said his one loss because most people view his win against, I believe it was Jared Gordon, or is it Malcolm Gordon? I can't remember. Or no, Jared Gordon, I believe it was. He was given the decision, but a lot of people thought he lost that fight. And this is where his brand kind of took a hit because he came out in the post interview and talking about how easy it was when it was diametrically opposed to his brand that he was cultivating. His brand was built on authenticity. And when he said something so ridiculous, I think it turned a lot of fans the wrong way. He could have still been as beloved as, if he would have just went out there and said, oh, that was way tougher than I thought. Wow, that was close. I'm surprised I won. But I think his brand took a hit. But it has rebounded. Rebounded nicely. And I think in the cage tonight, on Saturday, he's going to be the more popular fighter, and I think by a long shot as well. And this is a fun fight. So Paddy Pimblett, he's an exceptional grappler, very flexible. He's really good off his back. He's somewhat of a submission artist, I would say. And he hits pretty hard too. There's just one big problem, and this is a problem against Michael Chandler. He holds his chin up way too high. Way too high. He gets tagged in almost every fight, and he needs to learn how to tuck his chin a little bit better and to move his head a little bit more off the center line. And if he doesn't do that, this could be a problem for it. With that said, there's a difference between an elite level 30-year-old athlete and an elite level 38-year-old athlete. And 38, I think, is too old. If you just start to slip a little bit, I think that's too much because I do think Paddy Pimblett is good. Give me Paddy Pimblett by a really entertaining third-round submission in which there will be some close calls. All right, now we're moved to the featured fight, Nikita Krylov versus Dominick Reyes. Nikita Krylov is a finisher. Oh, and the odds, he's a minus 205 favorite. Dominick Reyes is a plus 170. We all know the story about Dominick Reyes. He, took John Jones to the limit. Most people thought he won that fight. I did at the time. I thought he won that fight. I thought he eked out a decision. He lost. He went out after that. Took him 4 years to win another fight. He is coming off back-to-back wins. He has looked really good. The competition hasn't been great as of late, but he still has looked good. It looks like he has rebounded quite well. So who knows really where he is right now. This is a good test. Nikita Krylov, he's 33 years old. He is a finisher. And I'm looking down. I don't know if I want to click into it, but how many finishes he has, whether it's subs, whether it's, by TKOs, he always finds a way to finish the fight. And what I think about this fight, I think this will end in a finish, but give me Dominick Reyes to catch Nikita Krylov in the third round. Give me Dominick Reyes by third round TKO and expect Reyes to be in some trouble during the fight, but I expect for him to rebound, and I expect for him to get it done. All right, before that, we have Yair Rodriguez versus Patrício Pitbull. Rodriguez minus 292, Pitbull at plus 160. It's Pitbull's long-awaited debut in the UFC. We saw what he did in Bellator. He was an absolute beast in Bellator. He knocked out Michael Chandler. He finished Michael Chandler. He finished, McKee. He is, he was an elite level fighter. The problem is he's coming over at age 37. And when you look at, not everybody can keep up at 37. We saw what Michael Venom Page did recently to Shara Bullet at age 37. He's still the fastest guy in the division, which is insane. That does not apply to everyone. I don't think it will apply here. Because when you look at Yair Rodriguez, he is an electrifying striker, has dynamic kicks, good strikes. I think he's going to put him on. I think he's going to put it on him. I think this will be a fun fight, but give me Yair Rodriguez to finish it in the third round head kick. All right. Before that, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Gene Silva. This is one of the most interesting matchups that just came to fruition not too long ago. Silva, a minus 290 favorite. Bryce Mitchell plus 235. Gene Silva might be the hardest hitter in this division now that Topuria has moved up. He is an absolute beast, and he has looked incredible in a short UFC run so far. And I believe he's like on a nine fight win streak when you go, cross promotion. He's looking good. He's looking every part of the real deal. He's, fighting out of the fighting nerds. It's a camp with a lot of hype right now. A lot of high level guys who are making a splash in the UFC. And he's taken on Bryce Mitchell, who, says some crazy things. And because of that, I think people forget how good of a grappler he is. He's an exceptional grappler. And this fight's a little more interesting because when it was first announced, my thinking is, Silva's going to decapitate him. This is going to be Josh Emmett KO on steroids. But then, as I'm thinking a little more deeply about it, I'm like, if Mitchell can avoid the big shots and he can get this fight to the ground, it's an entirely different story. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens on the flip side, Silva just has to hit him once. And I do think that's what's going to happen. Although I do think Mitchell has a chance. I don't think he's going to win this fight. I think he's going to get knocked out again. Give me second round knockout. Gene Silva win by second round knockout. All right. Opening the pay-per-view. Let's see one. Oh wait, that was opening the pay-per-view. This is a prelim fight. Wow, what a prelim fight. Xiaonan versus Virna Jandiroba. This is an incredibly good fight. Jandiroba is a minus 148. Xiaonan plus 124. Xiaonan is an electrifying striker as well. There's a lot of really good high-level strikers on this pay-per-view, so there's going to be some interesting fights. She can put it on just about anybody. She has incredibly fast hands, good kicks, not the best on the ground, and that is where the problem might come in because Jandiroba is an elite level grappler, and she has looked good, particularly of late, and she's really tricky on the ground. And I think if she gets this fight on the ground, she will absolutely have her way with Xiaonan. And I think here's what's going to happen. When it's on the feet, I think Xiaonan is going to light her up. Conversely, when it's on the floor, I think Jandiroba is going to absolutely control her and suffocate her. And you look at their age, they're both a little older. Xiaonan is 35 years old, where Jandiroba is 36 years old. But give me Jandiroba by third round submission in a really good fight that is good enough to be on a pay-per-view. All right, before that, we have Jim Miller versus Chase Hooper. Jim Miller, I don't know how old he is. I know he's in his 40s. Maybe he's like 41, 42. Chase Hooper, I believe he's like 26. I mean, this is pretty interesting. Both are good grapplers. Chase Hooper has been on a little bit of a run. He seemed to have turned it around. I think he was taking a lot of heat early in his career because he came into the UFC. He was so young. He has a couple losses, and it's like, guys, he's pretty much a kid. He's fighting UFC level fighters, and now he seemed to find his groove. And his last fight against Slava, where he outstruck him, which was crazy. He dropped him, and what this tells me is that his game is evolving. He's a grappler, but his striking's getting better. And if this is somebody who's all in his career, he has some raw tools that can be turned into something pretty good. Now, Jim Miller is the OG of OGs. Everybody loves Jim Miller. He had a little late career surge recently before he ran into, Bobby King Green at UFC 300. where it just, demonstrated there's a difference from the top 15, to people that are still looking good, kind of in the middle of the division. Jim Miller can absolutely pull out a sub here somehow, some way. I don't know. There's, Jim Miller, the Jim Miller magic. I don't know what it is, but he's always in a fight. But I think Chase Hooper is going to be too much for him. Give me Chase Hooper by a really fun, entertaining, yet mostly one-sided decision. Next up, we have Sumudaerji versus Mitch Raposo. Mudaerji is a minus 198 favorite, plus 165 for Raposo. Raposo looked to have some hype around him early in his career. He's lost a couple fights. He lost once on the Contender Series, and then in the UFC. So he has yet to taste victory. Mudaerji is actually a pretty decent fighter. We saw him go toe-to-toe against Charles Johnson, who's a very good fighter, and lose a very close decision. I'm going to take Sumudaerji by decision. Before that, Darren Elkins versus Julian Erosa. Erosa at a minus 375. Darren Elkins plus 295. Darren Elkins. We talked about Jim Miller being an OG. This is another one. Darren Elkins in almost every fight takes an absolute beating. The interesting thing is that he wins a lot of those fights. This dude can take more punishment than anybody I think I've ever seen and can still come out on top. The problem is he's getting much older now. I believe he's 38. And I think, your ability to just keep taking damage, which, is his nickname, which is, quite apropos there, because he doesn't only deliver damage, he takes a lot of damage. Where Julian Erosa, it's funny about Julian Erosa, he has some good wins on his resume. He has a lot of finishes, but he's also been finished a lot of times. And he has some bad losses. So you never know what you get with Julian Erosa, but I think Julian Erosa is going to be way too much. Give me Julian Erosa by second round TKO. Before that, we have Sedriques Dumas versus Michał Oleksiejczuk. I think this is a mismatch. Oleksiejczuk is a minus 205 favorite. Dumas is plus 170. Dumas has very fast hands. He is a good striker, particularly with the speed and power. He does lack a certain degree of technical acumen on the feet, but he is a good striker and he is very dangerous. But he doesn't have much of a ground game, and I think there's big holes in his grappling, and that's going to be exposed here. And plus, Oleksiejczuk can hit hard too. I mean, remember he was a light heavyweight. He's on a bit of a losing streak, but he's fought some really good guys. I think he's just a substantially more complete fighter, where Dumas will have the hand speed. And yes, he could crack him. He could catch him. I don't think that's going to happen. I think Oleksiejczuk's going to get him on the ground. I think he's going to expose him in every round. And I think he's going to win by decision in the third round. All right, before that, and this is a remarkable fight to have on the prelims. Absolutely nuts. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson. Sean Woodson, the minus 170 favorite. Dan Ige at plus 142. Now, Sean Woodson is finally getting a crack at a top 15 guy, and it's about time. This guy is a top 15 fighter. First of all, he fights at 145, and he is like 6'2". He has the craziest frame for this weight division. And he's a boxer. He has really, I believe his nickname is the Sniper. And again, that's quite apropos as well, because that's what he does. He can snipe. He is he's an incredible striker, particularly his boxing, because he does come from that boxing background, moves really well, will pepper his opponent with the jab, and just moves in and out very well, and a really hard guy to figure out. Now, Dan Ige, we all know Dan Ige. We know he came in on short notice to fight Diego Lopes on hours' notice, which was just absolutely insane. And the best way to think about Dan Ige is he's that quintessential gatekeeper, meaning if you're a top 10 fighter, you can beat him. If you're a top 15 fighter, but not a top 10 fighter, you're not going to beat him. And this will tell you how good Sean Woodson is. And Dan Ige has excellent power. We saw what he did to Andre Fili. He could put anybody out at any given time. I think he's just going to be a little bit slower. He's going to be a step behind this entire fight. Yes, he can catch him. I don't think that's going to happen. Give me Sean Woodson by an absolutely entertaining, high-level fight. Give me Sean Woodson, excuse me, by decision. All right, just 2 more fights to go. We'll cover these quite quickly. Tresean Gore plus 270 versus Marco Tulio minus 340. Tulio had that first round finish in his debut. Tresean Gore, hasn't really lived up to the hype yet. He'll look probably to wrestle a little more here, but I think Marco's good everywhere. And give me Marco by 3rd round TKO. And we have Nora versus Hailey Cowan. Cowan is the better athlete. This is a pretty close fight on the cards. Well, somewhat. Nora is minus 175. Hailey Cowan is plus 145. Give me Cowan by decision, and that is it. That is those are my picks. And again, sorry, MMA Milo couldn't be here, but check out that video. Check it out. Write down in the comments your picks. Definitely like and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back next time.